The 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Welcome into the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Whelan Wealth Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
It is a mystery guest edition of the 419.
And this is our halfway point.
What?
We are over halfway.
This is over the halfway point.
That's right. At this point, we have done this 70
That's right.
times.
We were halfway through what we're contractually obligated to complete.
I wanted to bring this guest on to celebrate our 70th anniversary.
I don't think that's.
The question is, who's more excited
Yeah.
that we are over the halfway point?
WGTE.
Okay, I thought so too.
Yeah.
I don't even need to hear the list.
And our floor manager, Rich. He's very excited about
everything.
the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. He's just ready to be done.
On our last show, we're going to put Snuffleupagus down. That's true, right?
Kids in the car, please don't listen.
I was thinking about this. So the spreadsheet that Matt never looks at, I actually, just because we're at that halfway point, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to finish out the rest of the months. And so I created our schedule so that we can track our guests and all that.
Totally.
We've been doing this
Matt's
the whole
like,
time.
Totally.
Yeah. Tell me more about this.
But I was thinking about the final show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, we had a separate format and a little kind of insanity
for the
the show one. I was like, maybe we do it for show
135.
130.
I'm doing 5 on my own.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. It's me repairing an old house.
Yeah. But I was thinking about it. We got to have Trekkie Monster.
We have to have Trekkie on.
Yeah. I think we should do the last 5 shows with just Trekkie.
Matt wants to be literal best friends with Trekkie Monster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah. And it would be a beautiful relationship.
We actually have a separate text group with Matt, myself, and Trekkie Monster.
You read
the
those
Trekkie has
texts.
trouble pressing the buttons, so it's just a menagerie of vowels and
But
consonants.
there is a better chance that Trekkie responds to my texts
There are.
than Matt.
I think we should just start putting just crazy stuff in the spreadsheet because you and I are the only ones that are going to.
Some of the pictures Trekkie sent me are not appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's only half a puppet.
What's a self with? Nope.
Nope.
Yep. Nope.
It's your surprise
It is
guest today,
my
Gretchen. Please.
They probably left the building.
Yeah, if they're still in the green room. This is a woman.
All right.
Yeah.
You were
Which
right.
Kevin was already on top of.
We
Kevin's
predicted
guest
that.
was a woman.
We don't think that you've ever brought in.
That's not true.
That's not true.
Firefighter.
That was season 1
Oh, that was a podcast.
on the podcast.
Okay.
Yep.
You're right. I'll work on that.
Phil Skeldon.
Phil Skeldon was on the podcast.
That's 2.
Yeah.
So of the roughly 20 plus surprise guests that you've had over the 3 years of us doing podcasts now the show.
And for a while, you were the only one that was allowed to bring on surprise guests. Remember that? We did like a solid month.
That's when they were good. Yeah.
That's when it really peaked. Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be another home run for Gretchen.
Another home run. This is a very well-known and well-loved Toledoan.
All right.
This is a dancing queen.
Dancing Queen.
This is a person
It's
who
Trekkie.
is a very creative talent. She works for a local agency in town.
Okay.
And she is the youngest board member of one of the largest and most influential institutions in our community.
The dancing thing is throwing me for a loop.
Well, you'll have to figure out who it is when we come back.
Good segue, Gretchen.
Well done.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll find out who Gretchen's dancing queen is on the 419. Powered by WGTE. God, I hope not.
Support for the 419 comes from Whelan Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at wheatroadvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419 powered by WGTE. It is a mystery guest edition of the 419. It's Gretchen's mystery guest. And I have to admit that the clue of Dancing Queen threw me off.
Yes.
Because with all the work you do with arts organizations, you're on the board for Live Arts Toledo, I expected this to be a professional dancer.
No, this is I should have said an amateur dancing queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, if you had said that, I would have said
So we
your
didn't have our
mystery
guest
guest is
Molly Luetke.
Hello and good morning.
Good morning.
Yes.
Welcome.
Yes.
Are we pronouncing that right? Molly?
So we all know our friend Molly very
Yes.
well. We're so happy to finally have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So one of the first things we want to explain to our audience is the Dancing Queen comment. So Molly, what I was thinking was that Molly's always the best person to have at any party because she's going to dance. Period. She's going to dance. But also,
Dancing at wakes is
it's
not
awkward.
well received.
But honestly, if the beat hits, you know,
Right.
That's right. Well, one beat has stopped.
If there's music. But also, you started a little set, not even little, but you get a group of friends together in Toll House every couple of weeks and do like a Saturday morning dance party.
I do, yeah. It mostly started last year during the winter months, and I was just trying to find a way to motivate myself to move, but also to gather people, which is something I love to do. And so I have this disclaimer happens at the beginning of every class. I have no training on either exercise and or on dance. But I do have the ego to think that I can do this.
Yeah.
And you obviously do it
Maybe
well.
you've seen our show.
None of us can recognize those feelings at all.
Maybe we should add dancing.
So it's about 12 songs, and it's mostly like a combination of aerobics and freestyle dancing. And I do
Does
the
the
playlists.
volume of your voice help?
Yeah, I do love to be in the front in charge yelling at everyone. Yes.
So walk me through like this class. What's the song that like the perfect song to kick off
Good question.
Saturday morning dancing?
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And by walk, I mean sprint through this.
Well, each week is a different theme. So the themes I've had in the past are a full Taylor Swift themed one. The last one I did was Jack Jams, old school Jack Jams.
Nice.
This one coming up is going to be summertime vibes. So any song. But what's interesting is the songs have to be somewhere between 130 and 160 beats per minute in order to make it
This is
like an
pretty sophisticated.
aerobics.
Yeah, she
Oh,
works
yeah.
on it. I think you
I
need
do
to
work on it.
share or monetize somehow those playlists after.
You're right.
After you make them.
Well, okay, and the fun thing is about it is that I do it completely free. Nobody is paying to take this class because
Get
I
out
am
of
not a
town.
professional. So it's so I do it for free and offer it for free and offer a little breakfast afterwards.
Oh my goodness.
And yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit more to our audience who may not know you the way we do, your day job and sort of some of the volunteer things you do. The board that I was referring to is the Metro Parks Board.
That's right.
So tell us a little bit about your history there.
Sure. I was appointed by Judge Puffenberger about, I think, 7 years ago now. The makeup of the Metro Parks Toledo board is interesting in that it is appointed by a judge. And for a very, very, very long time, it was a board of 3 people that are known as commissioners. And then about 7 or 8 years ago, because the size of the park district had continued to grow, they decided that it was appropriate to expand the board from 3 people to 5 people. And so there were 2 new appointments, and myself and Kevin Dalton, who is the head of TFT, were appointed at that time.
So technically, Matt works for you.
Yes, in a roundabout way.
I just wanted to make sure we...
Again,
I love
What an
so
honor
much.
it is to have you here.
I love so much how
see
much
his face?
Matt avoided answering that question.
Yeah, he was like,
Yeah. Also, my chair's
what I
loading.
read in your face there, Matt, was you wanted to say no, but you're smart enough to know not to.
Well, first of all, that's the nicest thing you've ever said to me, Kevin. But secondly, I also want to ask Molly a direct question. You were brought on to represent the youth of the county, and I want to know how you feel about that being an accurate statement.
well, I think at the time it was maybe a little more appropriate. But yeah, it was.
it?
Well, to be clear,
Young
the
vibe.
board has one direct report and one direct report only, and it's the executive director of the organization.
Right.
And then so it's a really interesting board in that we don't it's very like policy driven and helping pass contracts. It is not a daily operations board. So so in a roundabout way, that is why it's a difficult question. But I would say that, what was the question?
You're definitely the youngest
Taylor
member.
Being young?
By,
I
by
love
20
being young.
years, like
Your
youngest.
memory of the
No,
question
Kevin's
is sort of.
not that old.
Oh, how old is Kevin? Kevin's,
I don't know.
Kevin's 50.
I don't want to
Something?
speculate.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
It's not that kind of show.
But no, I mean, I do think that Judge Puffenberger felt like there was missing a perspective in people who are a little bit more in touch with the younger folks in this town. I mean, that's true, I think, of a lot of boards, right?
Yeah.
Like, people stay on for a long time. There are people who have experience and wisdom, and so they make good board members. But I do think that there is a real need to make sure that younger people's perspectives are getting included.
Yep.
I think, so what, I might have been 30,
how do you feel about that
34 at the time,
Yeah.
which does feel young now,
Yeah,
comparatively.
it
But what were you going to ask?
I don't know.
There's so much going on with the Metro Parks right now, and we see Matt every day and talk to him every day.
You're welcome.
And we've had Mike Heedy on and other people to talk about the Metro Parks. But from your perspective, this must be like an incredibly exciting time to be a commissioner. We have the Riverwalk. I mean, can you just talk a little bit about
For sure.
sort of the time we're in right now?
And the importance of the mission.
Yeah, yes. Well, so you're exactly right. When I joined the board, they were in the process of finishing up Glass City Metro Park. But also, since I've been on the board, we opened Manhattan Marsh. So I wasn't really involved in any of the work of that project, but I was on the board when they formally opened it to the public. So Manhattan Marsh, Glass City Metro Park, the second phase. And so you're exactly right. And it hits very close to my heart because I do live in the city of Toledo, and I care a lot that all of those folks have access to parks and opening up access to the river and stuff like that. So it has been very exciting. We also opened up the Treehouse Village. That's actually how I originally got involved, is I was volunteering for the Treehouse Village. They called it like a cabinet, but it was basically to raise awareness and money for the Treehouse Village project. And so I was around and doing a lot of volunteer work, and the judge kept seeing me. So
One of the challenges that we have with this show, when we bring on a mystery guest
Yes.
that we all know, is we tend to dive real deep, real fast,
Yeah.
because we know and love you.
Yes, thank you.
But let's back up a little
we know
bit.
you.
sure, yeah.
Matt knows you. Let's back up a little bit. Like, you're from Toledo.
I was born in Toledo. We quickly moved to Sylvania. I was raised in Sylvania, yep. And I went to college at Bowling Green State University, and then I have never left. I am born and raised and live in Toledo. Yeah.
I knew your dad long before I knew you.
Many people, that's true, yeah.
But you know, your
It's true of
father's.
your mother.
That's right.
That's
And
right.
you heard, and Molly's mom, Mrs. Luetke, is probably our #1 fan.
She is.
She listens to the
Her
podcast all the
Spotify
time.
Unwrapped.
Yeah.
She said, Spotify sent me a newsletter that says my #1 podcast. It's this one.
She friended me on Facebook so she could get updates. I
Yeah.
mean, she is in, all the way in. So
to
we
be
want to say
clear-
hi to Mrs. Luetke for sure.
Yes.
Hi, Mom.
Spotify didn't say this was my #1.
Wait, what was yours?
Podcast.
What was yours?
Yeah, it's something about kids.
Something in the manosphere.
Yeah, that's right. So your father,
This is
Mark
in the
Luetke,
Yes.
well-known
Yes.
marketing PR
Yep.
kind of legend in the community.
Legend.
I appreciate that.
I had the privilege, so the full circle moment is you're describing how you got put on the Metro Parks. There was a statewide policy panel redrafting the underage drinking laws when I was in high school.
You wanted to be younger?
And I was appointed to that policy panel.
Really?
With your dad.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know
So
that.
that's how I was 18,
Yeah.
representing the youth of Ohio
Yeah.
on rewriting. Yeah, I was super cool. But yeah, so I've known your dad since I was in high school.
Okay,
Incredible
yeah.
person.
Yeah.
What
Were you also
living-
part of John Lithgow's committee to stop dancing in the
Yes.
city ordinance?
Yes, I was. Yeah, that's right.
That was from Footloose.
So I mean,
Okay.
growing up with a dad who's that well known in the community, was that fun? Was that annoying? Was it like you can't go anywhere without somebody being like, "Hey, guess what Molly did"?
So I would say it wasn't annoying because I really, really love my dad.
Yeah.
So people coming up and telling me how much they love him and think he's great, it's not like I have some like, you know what I mean? Like deep-seated.
Yeah, you're like,
I was
he's a monster.
yeah, he is great. I do love him. He's great.
Yeah.
And he's very, I think, generous with his time.
Do you know Trekkie's dad?
Don't.
Monster.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real dark.
He was on the Sylvania school board when I was finishing high school.
Oh, wow.
And he, though, was like very cool where he had a conversation with me and basically said, I want to do this, but that puts some pressure on you. And are you comfortable with me doing it? I won't do it if you tell me you don't want.
And you're like, Dad, I'm going to get these.
I said, I would love all of the special attention. Please do it.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
This is gonna get me out of so much stuff.
No, but so he was like able to, on my graduation day from high school, hand me my diploma because so that was really fun.
Yeah.
And then he was on Sylvania City Council for a long time after that. Those were my college years. But yeah, it has been, I mean, certainly it has provided me a lot of privilege. There's no question about that. I have gotten a lot of connections to, professional opportunities, and people knowing him and thinking well of him has boded well for me. But no, I don't think it's annoying at all. He deserves any nice thing that is said about him.
I couldn't agree with that more. He has been a counsel to many, many people, so by no means am I special, but I've talked to your dad on a professional, personal level. When we all come to forks in the road, your dad well, actually, all of you are the same way, a good mix of really good, I think, professional thinking, but are people too. So I'm sure that it was a mix of things, but it does present a little bit of a challenge to you because you want him to be proud of you.
Sure.
And I know that he is. And Bowling Green, you studied what?
Visual communication technology.
Cool.
But you're using that and following. It's sort of following in Dad's footsteps a little bit.
For sure. Yeah, I actually graduated with like a degree in graphic design, so I have a design background. And then I did that for a little bit and throughout college. And then I actually had an opportunity to go work for Pete Gerken as an executive assistant for him. And really, it was a very bizarre turn of events when I did that. But one of the best learning experiences I ever had, for sure. I worked for him for 3 years. And then after that, actually left to go work for my dad's agency for a couple years. And then landed at Madhouse, where I've been for over 13 years.
That job with Pete, though, was interesting. Maybe not interesting professionally, but you certainly learned a lot. But because I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, that you knew David Mann and Gabby Say before you started working there.
I had met David out on an election night in 2004 when Pete won his seat for commissioner. And that was my first time meeting David Mann because he was the campaign manager. And then he was the one who reached out to me when he got promoted and needed to fill the seat for an executive assistant for Pete. And so then, yes, when I went to go work there, it was Tina Skelton-Wozniak, Ben Canup, an old name that he hasn't been around here for a little while, and Pete Gerken. Boo Ben Canup, I know. But so Gabby C was Ben Canup's executive assistant, and that is how I met them, and they are still
lifelong
my
friends.
best friends.
Yeah.
Now, if Anita Lopez's assistant job opened up, would you take that job today? Next question.
I think she's overqualified.
So you're not young
Talk to us about Madhouse. If people aren't familiar with
thank
Madhouse,
you.
what does Madhouse do? Because you guys are crazy talented.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Madhouse is a smaller creative agency based in Toledo. Our buildings are in the Uptown area, long before Uptown is what it is. Actually, I just had some UT students come in, and they're doing a project on Uptown and wanted to know about the area. And I was like, yeah, I think Madhouse bought the building on the corner of Jackson and 13th in 2000.
Just make up a number.
I know, like 6
4
or something like that. And yeah, so way different than it is now. But we focus in branding, film, photography, 3D modeling and animation, digital stuff, things like that. I am the managing director of Madhouse Films. The film side of it specifically focuses on, obviously, storytelling and visuals. So, and I've been there for over 13 years.
I want to talk a little bit, this will make you uncomfortable, but the amount of hardware that you guys have been awarded is incredible. This is not to speak poorly, certainly, of any other agencies in our area that are great, but Madhouse, these are my words, not yours, does film and video better than anyone else in our region, potentially.
Thank you.
In multiple states. But the projects that you've done are significant. There's a host of them. At the risk of picking out a client, or one thing that was your favorite. Do you mind mentioning maybe a couple or one that made you feel like we're really on the map here?
Yeah, I mean, actually, the first one started before I was working there. They did what is known as the Stroh Center rap video. So BGSU had donors basically make the Stroh Center, and they wanted a way to thank the donors. And there was some first idea that ended up being not working for some reason. And so very last minute, our team came up with this idea. And it was risky because it was a rap video sort of putting these much older gentlemen who are very generous in funnier positions, like sort of almost like poking fun at them, but obviously very much like thanking them.
Right. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't surprise me. I'm not familiar with it, but the fact that it's phenomenal doesn't surprise me.
It is, so like as a fundraiser, when that came out, like blew my mind.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is,
go watch it.
This is what stewardship looks like, right? Is like they, I mean, fully engaged the donors in the
engaged
in the work. It's so well done. I did not realize. I mean, I'm a huge fan of that video and did not realize that was Madhouse.
Oh yeah. So that project, I think we do a lot of work in higher education, and that was the turning point for us getting more higher education work.
The best thing also is when Molly, if you follow Molly on social media, there'll be these random posts that say, hey, we're working on a video. I'm looking for a goat that can twirl a baton. Does anyone know a goat that can twirl a baton?
I need a 2-year-old and a parrot.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm looking for a live parrot that can walk in a straight line. Does anyone know a parrot that can walk in a straight line? And then people reach out and say yes.
Inadvertently, Molly probably doesn't realize this, that Molly was helpful in me getting Lourdes on as a client. I was in communication with Lourdes about how I think I can help make connections in the community, and I think I can help them tell their story and do all of these things.
Yeah.
And in the midst of that,
I was looking for help.
You were looking for someone to connect. Hey, we want to do a shoot for
Mud Hens in Hawaii. Yeah.
In great community places. Does anybody know somebody at Lourdes that can help? And I was like, I have
a parrot.
Yeah.
That's right. I got you. But reached out and kind of made that connection.
That's so true. Yeah, you very much helped us. Yeah.
That is the upside to the connections you all have made in living in a town this size. That's what this show is about, dummies.
That's right. All right, so you are involved in so many different organizations. I mean, I'm just learning.
We have a whole nother segment, though.
Yeah, we have a whole nother segment. So let's take a break.
That.
When we come back, I want to talk about all that community stuff, and I want to see kind of what's Molly Luetke's dreams for Toledo.
Oh, boy.
So
okay, got it.
Think about it. Plus, we're going to make you play Gretchen's Wacky Quiz.
Wacky Quiz.
So, nailed it. Yeah. All right, we'll be right back on the 419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen. What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419. We're coming back. We'll do it live.
And we're back.
We'll do
we didn't get the notice.
Oh, Molly's already drinking 7 cups of water.
Apparently, me counting backwards from 10 wasn't the notice that Gretchen needed.
I don't listen to numbers. Me neither.
Hey, we're talking with Molly Luetke.
You know that you didn't count it out loud, right?
What's that?
You know you didn't count out loud.
I think I did.
Are you smelling burnt toast?
Maybe.
Yeah, okay. It's my cologne.
Molly Luetke is Gretchen's surprise guest.
Gretchen's surprise...
Oh, no,
wacky guest.
Yeah.
Molly, you're involved in so many different things in the community. I feel like I just, on social media, I follow you and I'm like, why didn't I get invited to that party?
Oh.
But that's
well,
a consistent.
I can answer that.
Yeah, no, I know the answer. Yeah, no, I know the
He
answer.
still asked the question for some
That's
reason.
right. I just, in my head, I'm saying that,
Yeah.
like, man, I want to be invited to that. But you're at all the coolest things.
Thanks.
And maybe they're the coolest things because you're there.
Well,
That
I
might
don't
be
think
why
that
it
that
is.
is true.
Yeah.
No.
I don't
All the
think so
things
either.
that end at 9:30.
I don't think so either. Thank you.
Talk to me about, so I see you're active with the Metro Parks, you're active with the Arts Commission. What are some of the big events and things that you're working on that the community needs to know about?
Yeah, well, I think first and foremost, I am involved actually along with Gretchen in a committee of folks who are helping to plan out and connect the right people to Watershed Weekend, which is Metro Parks Toledo's celebration of being 50% all done with the Riverwalk. So I think that everyone at the Metro Parks can get a little too close to what we're doing and not realize that probably the vast majority of people in Lucas County might not even totally understand what the Riverwalk is or what the full plans are. So the hope is to be a weekend full of different activities, some which are being actually hosted by the Metro Parks, but many where we're actually just putting together lots of partnerships and they're actually activating the space. So the whole idea is, how can the Riverwalk look when it's being activated by lots of different activities and types of people and types of things to do.
Tell us what the Riverwalk is, for those that may not know.
So the Riverwalk will be a stretch of 5 miles, is that right? That will connect both sides of the river with the bridge being pedestrian friendly, right? And so what is very cool is, and then along the way, there are going to be a variety of phases. So there will eventually be a new Vistula Metro Park, which is sort of across near pickleball, if anyone knows where that is. But the whole idea is that it gets people. Toledo has a river and it's valuable, and for so long there has not really been great access to it, especially in the downtown area. And I think I had a friend one time say to me, like, the reason you want people to get closer to the river and kayak is that then they might recognize that it actually is a resource we have and start to care about it a little bit more. So in its way, it is conservation work, right? Just making people more aware. And if people are in that water and recognize that it isn't very healthy, maybe they'll start thinking critically about how to get that done. So I think anyone getting closer, whether that be in a downtown environment or out in Waterville or whatever, closer to the river is ultimately a good thing.
Watershed Weekend is June 13, 14, 15?
That's 12, 13,
12,
14,
13,
15. Yeah.
This coming June, we've incorporated the Party in the Park.
Yep.
We'll be part of it. There'll be a whole day, hopefully on the MLK Bridge, that'll be closed down, where all engagement and all kinds of Metro Parks activities, stuff for families. The Arts Commission event will be on Thursday. I mean, it's going to be, people should put it in their calendars
One thing to
now.
make
It's going to
mention
be so fun.
of it is all the Metro Parks is celebrating a milestone from our large-scale community construction project. It is a vector to celebrate all the things that are already happening in downtown.
That's right.
So the Mud Hens are home. Our beloved Mud Hens, the Repertory Theater will have something going on, the Imagination Station. So it's just a reminder, because our region can be its worst critic. But this is a great small to mid-sized city. And all these things are actually already occurring, and they can do better by one another if they're working in symphony or in Congress, right? And the idea of these things coming together was brought together, wait for it, by the activation of public green space, which is for everyone, right? Metro Parks gets to be the vessel for these shells for you, Lucas County residents, to be able to use those shells for any way you want. So Mike Keedy and team and the leadership of our board and Dave Zink and Ali Effler and Jen Van Horn are designing these things to be able to be used for what we know today, but just as importantly, what we want to do tomorrow, because we want to compete. So it is a time for us all to celebrate not just the Metro Parks and not just the Imagination Station or the museum, but who we are as a collective.
I feel like you've done this elevator speech before.
It's the first time. I've been sewing these patches on my clothes by myself in the basement.
He doesn't even really work there.
That's right. I want to talk a little bit about Pickwa's Metro Parks. But anyway.
It's going to be a great weekend.
It'll be a fun weekend.
So much to celebrate.
But the Art Commission in terms of placemaking and connective tissue to community is a critical partner, and both of you are a part of that.
Yes.
And you're the least cultured people I know, so it's an odd pairing. But tell me about.
But we go to the parties.
Yeah,
that's
but
right.
I love a party, and I love to dance.
And in this case, Molly is co-hosting this year's mix. It's the largest fundraiser for the Arts Commission annually. It's May 1st. Molly, tell us what the theme is this
year. And tell us about your deep love for macrame.
Let's back up. So before we get into what the theme is, what is the mix?
Oh yeah, fair. The mix
and
is
your name again.
The mix is the annual fundraiser that the Arts Commission has done every year. It has taken on a lot of different personalities over the years. I think originally it was called the Black and White Ball.
That's exactly right.
And
Which
then
I attended.
at some point it switched to the Technicolor Ball potentially, and then it landed on the mix. And so the idea is that every year it's at a different location. It brings together artists, live music, drinks, food, whatever, and it's just like a very, very fun party, ultimately. I got involved with the Arts Commission as just as a volunteer, which I still am. I'm not on the board, but I just love the organization quite a bit. I love the people that work there. I love what they do for the community. And so me and Gretchen and Rhonda co-chaired the mix last year, and it was actually at Madhouse Films building, which was very fun, and it was a big success. And this year it's going to be at the Arts Commission's new building, which is going to be their new home, basically. They've moved. They used to be in a building across from the museum. They're now in a building on 1000 Adams Street, which is right across from the main library. And it will be they have this huge indoor parking garage in the back. And so we're going to do it in there. That looks a little industrial warehousey in the back there, and then along the parking lot in the back. And so we really want to play into this idea that this is like a physical space that the Arts Commission can now activate in a really meaningful way, in ways that they couldn't before in their old space. And so the invitation basically says, be here, and we're really playing into like a sense of place, a sense of like physical place, but also, like you said, creative placemaking, like making something that feels like it reflects the local artists of this community, basically.
Why does supporting the Arts Commission important?
Yeah. So the Arts Commission's main programs is offering artist services. So this is local folks who either make a living full-time and or have a passion and supplement their income in some ways by being working artists in this town. They do an amazing program that my friend Natalie runs called Young Artists at Work program, YAW is known. So they employ and pay teenagers during the summer to work on public art programs, which is an incredible learning experience and also beautifies our community. They also do art loops, which is just kind of fun for the whole family. And so I think mostly it's just supporting people who are working local artists, basically, and raising awareness and advocacy and things like that.
In general, supporting the ecosystem. I think that our executive director, Mark Folk, is sort of the, the bastion of that ecosystem and helps facilitate so many creative opportunities.
And it's a sophisticated and challenging role they play. So if you think about the Riverwalk, which you mentioned earlier, public art, I don't need to sing its praises. I think everyone certainly on this show has an understanding for its intrinsic value. But the park system has benefited from the leadership of the Arts Commission to not only find ideal locations and have an understanding of what the community wants to represent the people who built Toledo, quite literally and metaphorically, of course, but connect us with both local and national artists to build said pieces. So, that sort of connective tissue, that openness to the community, I think is just an integral part of almost everything we do. And one thing I think the Art Commission does is helps artists understand or help monetize their gifts, right? Because that Young Artists at Work certainly teaches young artists about paychecks and about, again, building a career with the skills that they're lucky to have, right? So, that's a wide range. It's a very small team. So things like this, that makes it creating a great experience that's a little bit different. It always is a little different every year, unique.
It's going to be so fun. And the
so
team
fun.
from Hafner is co sharing
Cool.
with you
Yes.
this year, and that's May 1st.
When will I find out at the last minute that you're going to need a shuttle driver?
Probably April 29th.
Sure. Yep. All right. I'll put that on my account.
We'll be reaching out via. Molly be reaching out via text.
That's right.
Yeah.
But not a group text because you won't read it.
Oh, yes. No, right. Exactly.
Okay.
So tell us also a little bit about improv. I know you and Matt both went through all the classes at Glass City Improv, and you
As you have
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That's
But I
it.
don't
Yeah.
perform.
Kevin,
you
it's
two
your turn.
perform.
Gretchen is the reason why I did it.
That's right.
We had Nick Morgan
Yes.
on the podcast.
It was awful.
Well, these knuckleheads put me on the spot and were like, "We're going to do improv."
Oh my gosh.
The scene
That's
starts
improv,
and
Kevin.
instantly
And Kevin's
all
heart
three
failed.
of them turn against me. And I'm like, "Wait a second, this isn't what I signed up for."
Yeah, no, that shouldn't be how it feels.
I got an idea.
Yeah.
Let's
I had a dollar.
have 3 professionals turn on the amateur
Professional.
and expect them.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't mean that for Gretchen.
Yeah.
All right, so talk to us about your love
I
for
think
improv.
I
talk about why
started.
I'm the best.
I think you are very good. I will admit. I started 8, 9 years ago, maybe. I just felt like I was at a little bit of a weird plateau in my life.
You want to talk more about that?
Yeah, right. I was hoping this could turn into a therapy session.
That's right. Talk about all your dark.
No, I mean, to be honest, a lot of my friends were having small children. I don't have children. I was just needing to sort of get out of my regular routine. And so I decided to randomly sign up for Level 1 Improv when it was still at the Rep, actually. And I didn't ask anyone to do the class with me. I just decided to sign up on my own, picturing that I would walk in and at least know a handful of people. I walked in, knew not a single person. But that's actually how I first met Pastor Chris Hanley.
Yeah.
He was in my Level 1 class, along with Emily Garrow, who's now a local improv star. And I've taken all the classes time and time again. But I think more importantly than that, I mean, I say improv changed my life, and I mean that. Really can get you out of your head. I think it makes you a better public speaker. It raises your confidence.
Makes you a better listener.
Yes, for sure. But also the friends that I've met.
No, not all of them.
Yeah, right. Which is why it's about time to get back into class.
Right.
Yeah.
No, but more so than that, the community of people, the friends that I have met through improv is really enriched my life in a dramatic way.
Yeah, you
So,
really are
yeah.
an integral member of that community. Yeah.
Well, and not so much in the classes of the performances, to be honest, but again, I just love to gather people, and I think that I'm pretty good at building and keeping relationships for no other reason than I just really love people a lot.
There'd be several times where we'd be planning to do something, and Molly's like, "Yeah, I can invite the improv people."
Yeah, that's right.
Right,
It's like
they're the
at
list.
large.
That's
yeah,
right.
You are. I mean, you're so connected around Toledo. You are at everything, and you're a phenomenal champion for our community.
Thanks.
What is Toledo missing? What do we need?
Oh shoot, I wasn't thinking about that. Well, I mean,
More video opportunity.
that's right. Unfortunately, what are we missing? See, honestly, I think from a mid-sized city perspective, I think the thing that sets Toledo apart so much is actually all of the I know we always talk about amenities, and that's not really it, but it is, to me, the arts and culture, right? We do have an opera and a symphony and a ballet, and we have amazing park system. Those things really do.
We have Frickers.
They closed.
That's all right.
Build-A-Bears did?
I think so. I just make it up.
Yeah. We do
So we
have
need a Build-A-Bear.
For those of you that
25 car
we
washes.
apologize.
Build-A-Bear is our number one sponsor on this show.
That's right. We have Build-A-Bear washes.
I mean, I honestly do think one of the things that's missing is younger people, right?
Yeah. Sure.
When you go to other cities, there is a
if
pulse
you're
of
a
the
young
city.
person.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I wasn't gonna say it.
You know what I mean? You go to other places, and it's rare to see people that. And I don't want. I don't want to be ageist, but also I do think the creativity and energy and the willing to take risk of young people is a needed energy.
That's well said.
Yeah.
So
and that's where Anita Lopez needs your vision.
It's interesting. I think about just our generation, looking at sort of how long the generation above us kind of held on to leadership roles.
Are you saying our generation?
Didn't pass. Well,
We're the
Matt
same
and I.
generation.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
But didn't pass them to the next
We're the
generation,
same
right?
generation.
So
That's right.
But it's our responsibility then to pass it faster.
Yep.
And so I think that's a thing for us to do. All right, it's now time for
Gretchen's Wacky Quiz. Sponsored by Sandy Luetke. Sandy Luetke cookies.
Sandy
They're
Luetke.
the best tasting cookie at any gathering.
SandyLuetkeGarden.com.
Oh, yes.
That's right, yeah. If you want your garden to be judged.
Molly, what was the first thing you thought about when you woke up this morning?
What I was gonna wear.
Nice.
What do you think when I say the word animal?
Ugh.
If you turned into a ghost, who would you haunt first?
Elon Musk.
And you are
show's gonna be
the
Goodbye
representative
funding.
of youth on the Metro Parks board. So what's the best thing about being a child?
Oh, what's the best thing about being a child?
Yeah.
Oh, I would say having no worries, right?
like it.
Except for like where you're going to get a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's pretty much
Right.
it.
Yeah. There's like if you think about back to your summers where you're like riding around on bikes with your little crew and your parents weren't checking in because we didn't have cell phones at the time, right? Like being just very carefree and sort of having full days ahead of you with nothing, no agenda, nothing to do.
Yeah.
Pretty
That's
good
great.
thing.
What is your number one most favorite thing or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo or the region?
I would say it's creativity. I know. I should say the Metro Parks, and of course I feel that. But also I think, and not just in terms of art, what I mean is how people here are required to get more creative in how we partner with each other, how we think about things, how we fund things. I think when we are a little bit up against, like we don't have all the resources we need and it requires people to get creative. And I think that I see that within organizations and within people time and time again. Okay, so yeah.
All right.
Yeah, sorry, 9 words that describe the city and or region.
Oh, so I actually don't have, it's an amazing place if you make the effort. That's 9 words.
Nice.
Jesus.
All right, let's run down
It's
all
an amazing place if you make the effort is what the answer was. For those who didn't hear it, and that's a great answer.
You brought us a gift.
Oh, you did?
Oh, okay. So I was listening to last Friday's surprise guest and the
For the
intro.
first time.
You guys were saying that you have an attorney friend who suggested that you guys eat hot wings while
Yes,
here.
yeah.
And then you made a joke about it being a dating show. So I would like to propose that we put Chicken Shop Date, which I don't know if you guys
Chicken
have
Shop
watched
Date,
that.
of course, Amelia.
And Hot Ones and Smart List. Just rip all of them off at once and propose a new podcast called Birds of a Feather. Toledo's most eligible women, not too proud to get dirty.
Yeah.
And this is a photo of me and Gretchen eating chicken wings.
I'm going to show it to the camera.
That is the best thing. I'm taking that home and I'm putting it above my bed.
It's so good.
She says that every show about
We could
something.
have surprise guests on solely for the sake of
I
will
love
you
it.
date me?
Birds of a Feather coming to WGTE in 2027.
Sponsorship available.
That's right. And will be available.
All
Let's
right.
run down the 3 websites that we talked about. Madhouse
Madhouse Films, yep, madmad.com.
and Arts Commission.
Yes, which is the mix, May 1st. Yep.
And where can people
Watershed
find out
Weekend.
about Watershed Weekend?
There is a new website that will be specifically dedicated to the activities of Watershed Weekend. I don't know if I know the URL.
Just go on metroparkstoledo.com. You can find it.
Molly Luetke, thank you
Thank you
so much.
for having me so
when
much.
we come back, we're joined by Connor Whelan from the University of Toledo talking about the upcoming football schedule. We'll be right back on the
These wings
419.
look great.
Support for the 419 comes from Wheatro Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at wheatroadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And Tarda, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information at tarda.com.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. We're joined now by Connor Whelan, the Deputy Athletic Director at the University of Toledo, officially my boss. So I have to be nice to him.
Yeah.
And I expect you knuckleheads to be nice
100%.
as well.
No worries.
Welcome to the show.
Connor.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Great to be here.
Obviously, I love the work I do with the University of Toledo. It's such an incredible community. The season ticket holders are great. The student athletes are great, but the employees in the athletic department are fantastic. Talk to us about what your role means as Deputy Athletic Director.
Yeah, so for me, Chief Revenue Officer, try and make the thing go, right? And so, I know you guys had Coach Jacobs on and Brian Blair on earlier this year. For us, this is a resource business, right? We love the community, we love our student athletes, but ultimately we need resources to sort of power the engine, right? And so from my perspective, it's a couple different buckets, right? Development, fundraising, ticket sales, corporate sponsorships, things of that nature. So that's super high level. And then there's
more so now than ever.
Oh, 100%, 100%, right? I mean, just the business is so much different today than it was in 2019. I mean, honestly, it's they're not even comparable
A lot of
anymore.
people say I can't imagine as a toss-off, but I literally cannot imagine the change of pace.
And the reason for that is because of the NIL stuff, and you're raising money for that too.
And your wardrobe costs.
Of course,
Yeah,
of
that's
course.
right.
Well, that's
Money
the
well
most
spent.
important thing.
That's right.
That's
right.
But so this is what I would tell you. 100% the business is changing, but everybody wakes up with the same set of problems. Like, you can dwell on that, but the reality is I drive into work. Western Michigan has the same problems that we do. They got to go solve this too. So does Bowling Green. And so there 100% are challenges that change all the time, right? The priorities of this thing change. But it's a problem-solving business. We all got to go in and fight the same battle.
Connor, if you seem very skilled at development and fundraising, why sports? Why are you interested in the athletic side as opposed to some other institution or organization?
I grew up around sports. Grew up in Pittsburgh. It's funny, like Toledo is a little Pittsburgh, right? It's like a mini Pittsburgh. All like the old school, like gritty resilience, like you picture, like
Rivertown.
the 1970s, like
Yeah, we know the 70s.
I grew up around sports, and so for me, fell in love with college sports in particular. I grew up a big Pitt Panthers fan. My dad went to Pitt. And then I went to Kent State, and we go to the College World Series my freshman year and win 11 football games, and so I've just been hooked for college sports ever since.
And you've won 11 games since.
Yeah, I know. We're just
So football schedule was recently released week and a half, maybe 2 weeks ago. Talk to us about kind of what are the highlights for this upcoming football season.
The highlights for us is 7 home games. That's
awesome.
a big change for us. I think that's the first time since 2018. The non-conference schedule is awesome. We got Temple at home. We got San Diego State at home. Buffalo is going to be homecoming there the second weekend of October.
Nice,
and then we've got the MAC champions, Western Michigan, on a Saturday. So 7 home games. That's a huge plus for us. And just a side note, we got to go to Sacramento State. So we welcome Sacramento State in the league. We'll play them in conference play out in California.
How about that?
At the risk of diving into too much of the nuts and bolts of that, like to me, I'm still trying to wrap my head around why Sacramento State's in the Mid-American Conference. But part of that deal is they're also contributing toward the travel cost for us to get out there, right?
That's correct, yeah. So they'll pay for our trip out there.
Yeah, that's incredible. And if I saw correctly, I mean, basically every Saturday in September, we're home.
That's exactly right, except for the first. We'll play Michigan State on the road, which again, it's a great road trip though, just because it's close, right? And so I think about last year we played Washington State and great fun trip, like great little area, but you got to fly, right? So from a fan's perspective, difficult to get there, but Michigan State's easy, so that'll be a good one.
Absolutely, great game too.
How do these games get on the schedule, right? How do they identify?
Great question.
Kind of this.
How's the schedule get made?
Yeah.
So the conference schedule we have nothing to do with. They give us that. We only saw the list of opponents maybe a month ago, and then 2 weeks ago we obviously got the schedule, and so that's more or less we don't really have any say in that matter.
Connor, let me ask you a question. When the email comes out, or how do you get this? Does everyone pile around their computers? What's the reveal like?
Honestly, that's what it is.
Sure.
I'm sitting at my desk and I'm in a Zoom meeting and it's like max schedule. I'm like, oh, let's check that thing out. And then immediately sending a photo to Mike Jacobs and we get our creative team to go build out cool things. I don't know if you guys haven't seen our schedule release on social media, you need to go look at it.
Is it cool?
So good.
No, I haven't seen it.
It's funny. I mean, every team's trying to come up with a creative way to do it, and I like the take the logo out in the community and show it and see if the random folks in the community can identify the opponent. and they get it wrong every time.
That's
And
I love
then-
it. That's a
but
great idea.
but this one is the football players are doing their best Bob Ross impersonation.
Oh, I love
it.
And they are
Yes.
painting the logos. Some of those guys
Can paint.
are good. The Michigan State logo looks great.
Yes, that's my favorite.
Yeah,
that's definitely
there's
my
some
favorite.
good ones. Amongst all of the things I'm excited about, 7 home games, all the games in September, we got a lot of Saturdays. I am legitimately livid
He's bitterly disappointed.
that BG, after 2 years of success on a Saturday, and the world and the conference and the communities get to see that success, the Mid-American Conference just decided to lay an egg and put it back in the middle of the week in November.
Yeah, it's obviously disappointing. It's the biggest sporting event in Northwest Ohio, right? It deserves a Saturday showcase. And just to be transparent, and we've talked about this publicly, I think there was speculation that you saw in the Blade about us trying to play Bowling Green in basketball 3 times. I don't think it's out of the question for football to play them twice. If it gets us the Saturday guarantee. So agreed with you. Obviously, we want that game on a Saturday.
We've got a new guest joining us on the show, Rocky the
Rocket.
is
Welcome.
in the house.
This
Rocky,
is your body, man?
That's right.
I
Yeah.
know Rocky is a man of few words,
Yes.
but can you just maybe demonstrate to us who's going to win the Toledo Bowling Green game?
There you
Yeah,
go.
Toledo.
All right. Yeah.
Toledo.
Rocky's never been wrong.
He's never been wrong
Look at those
before.
abs.
He's going to be excited on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
You guys have got, so talk about Toledo Bowling Green, Battle of I-75. Coming up next month, you guys have got a big game at Fifth Third Field.
Yep.
This is really cool.
Yeah, so we got 2 big spring showcases for our baseball team. We'll play at Fifth Third Field against Bowling Green in May, but we'll also play Michigan here, I believe.
Next week.
Next week,
Yeah,
so
April 14th, 6:30 at Fifth Third Field, Michigan, and then May 12th, Battle of I-75 at Fifth Third Field at 7 p.m.
Yeah, so again, for our purposes, right? You got football, you got basketball, and then in the spring we really have those 2 big showcases at Fifth Third Field. And so again, it's just a great opportunity for our community. Get downtown, play 2 baseball games in front of big crowds. That'll be a lot of fun.
I love the fact that it's downtown too.
Me
That's
too.
really cool.
Yeah, very cool.
What are you most excited about as we head into a new athletics season at the University of Toledo?
I think a couple things. Number one, momentum, right? Like we have so much momentum at the University of Toledo. This is my first year here, and I feel like I say this all the time. Like this is I knew the school was good before I got here. I was at Mississippi State. I saw Toledo beat us, about 100-0 when I was working at Mississippi State, 3 years ago, and you just look at what we're capable of relative to our peers. It's an exciting drive into work, right? There's a lot of schools, like we talked about the challenges, where it's probably not such an exciting drive into work. They realize those challenges are going to be really difficult to overcome. The people here, this community, the resources that we have, and the great university that we work for, it's a great place to be right now. And Coach Jacobs' first year for our football team, coming back home, a mommy guy. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Pretty excited yourself? Oh, man.
Rocky has got some excitement as well. Connor Whelan, Deputy AD at the University of Toledo. All right, Connor, we're going to do it. It's now time for Gretchen's Wacky Quiz.
Yeah, all right.
We should call it Rocky's. Rocky.
We'll do it again.
Okay.
Rocky's Wacky Quiz. There we go.
4 rapid-fire questions from me. Gretchen's asking for your favorite thing in or about Toledo, and then you and Matt will work together to describe Toledo in 9 words.
Got it.
All right. What's your favorite way to relax?
Oh man, watch TV. Watch sports on TV, right? If you can't work with it, then you got to watch it.
Oh, man.
If you could have any animal for a pet, what would it be?
Cat.
Ugh.
Love cats.
All right, that's the show.
What advice would you give your younger self?
Oh man, don't take anything too seriously. Like this thing, life changes on a minute-by-minute basis.
I like it.
What's a song that you know all of the words by heart?
Oh boy, that's a tough question. I'm not really a music guy. I don't know that there is one.
Let's talk more about cats.
Yeah, let's. That's my lane.
Do you know the musical Cats?
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, that's a win.
That's right.
What is your number one most favorite thing, or what you consider to be the best thing about the city of Toledo?
People. I mean, people and things to do, like just sheer attractions. I live on the west side of Sylvania. There is never a dull moment on a weekend where me and my fiance, it's like, oh, what are we going to do? Like literally, I have a list on my phone, all the metro parks, all the restaurants that we want to go to. Just so much fun things to do and great people. I mean, everybody that we work with at the university is tremendous.
Excellent.
Congratulations to both you and your partner.
Thank you.
All right,
Thank you.
let's do the 9 words. People, I'm going to give you that one right off the rip. I'll give you Metro Parks. You already mentioned it. I'm going to give you 2. I'll give you an extra credit point for that. So we got to work down the list here.
Resilience.
Got it.
Camaraderie, which I think that's a cheating one. That's like community, right? But camaraderie is definitely a good one. Food. I mean, the food scene here is unbelievable.
What's your best place to eat?
This is like such a cop-out, but I'm going to say Stubborn Brother because I've eaten probably
so good.
more Stubborn
Rocky
Brother
likes it too.
times 4 than anywhere else I've been.
I'm going to give you Stubborn Brothers one as well.
Scenic.
The last one. What's your fiance's name?
Lydia.
There it is.
There it is.
For Lydia's sake, it's actually Lydia times 9, right? Those are that's the Mount Rushmore.
My man.
For
Good
me,
for you.
but,
All
yeah.
right. Thank you for being here.
Man, Connor, thank you so much for
Yeah, thank
joining
you
us.
guys.
The biggest party in Toledo.
No doubt.
The home opener. When is it again?
September, it's a week after September 5th. So I think it's September 12th or September 11th against Central Connecticut State. We've got about 150 days. So you got time to look at the calendar and get that thing locked in. But
It's a great time. Absolutely.
September 12th
There you go.
is
There
the
you
date.
go.
I was like, I put him in my calendar.
Yep.
I'm ready
Yep,
to go. I'm getting the voice all warmed up. I've got to work on the growling through the R's.
Yes.
I'm ready for it. And then, of course, next week, April 14th, 6:30, Toledo versus Michigan. That's a big deal at Fifth Third Field. And then May 12th, Battle of I-75 in baseball. Toledo versus Bowling Green, first pitch at 7 p.m. at Fifth Third Field as well. Of course, if people want information on this or they want season tickets, where do they get them?
Yep, utrocks.com.
How can they support the athletic department?
Honestly, just continue showing up. We have an awesome fan base. Just show up to our games, support our student athletes.
Great.
Connor Whelan, Rocky
the Rocket.
Thank
Thanks
you
for
so
being
much
here.
for joining us. When we come back, we'll wrap up this Friday edition of the 419 TOL.
EDO.
That was weak.
Richard's wacky. Sorry. I
We'll
only
be
did the
right
one
back
thing.
on the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Introducing The Local Thread, a community news series uniting voices and storytellers from across the region. In partnership with La Prensa, the Toledo Free Press, the Sojourner's Truth, Toledo Public Schools, and Rethinking Jails and Justice. The Local Thread brings you stories and conversations that connect our community. Hear it weeknights at 7 on FM 91 with early access on podcast platforms each morning. The Local Thread, only on WGTE.
Welcome back into the 419 as we wrap up a mystery guest edition of the 419, and we're joined on set by Rocky the Rocket.
I think this could be our new co-host.
I like it. I wish you spoke as much as he does.
I knew that joke was coming.
Yeah. Rocky, is this the best show in Northwest Ohio? Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a W. I like it.
Other than UT Athletics, it's the best show.
Thank you so much to our surprise guest, Molly Luetke. She was
we love Molly.
fantastic.
Yes.
Of course, Connor Whelan and Rocky the Rocket for joining us here on the 419. If you missed any part of the show, 3 great opportunities to enjoy it. 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91 in Toledo, Bryan, Defiance, and Lima. 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects Channel 30.4. Of course, all of the episodes online at WGTE.org/the419. Or you can download the new and improved WGTE app. Rocky, do you have the app?
He checks it. I can tell.
Yep,
Yeah.
Rocky's got the app.
All right.
And you should too. If you got any ideas for the show, shoot us an email, 419@WGTE.org. All right, so Toledo Bowling Green in baseball how's Bowling Green going to do in that game? Falcons down. Talons down.
Talons down.
I like it.
I love it.
All right, thank you so much to all of our guests, and thanks to you for joining us. We'll see you back here
whenever you're back.
Next week.
That's right.
We'll continue the show next week here. It's the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by Whelan Wealth Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.